Hey everyone, my name is Mike, welcome to the channel. It is an honour and privilege to be a member of the Warped Ones. We are a group of friends based down in beautiful Cornwall that love to play Warhammer 40k. If you are here on this video, thank you very much. Any support you can give us would mean a lot. We do try to put out content when we can, and we really love streaming our local tournament Bugle Bat Reps, and on the odd occasion, a stream from Sean's living room. Please check out what we do in our previous streams. We are always looking for feedback and would appreciate anybody's time. But in this video, I'm going to talk to you about my favourite Eldari detachment, Windrider Host, and how I'm taking this to my first ever super major, Bristol. Detachment, Ride the Wind. This is the detachment that is affecting only Azuriani mounted and Viper units. So we are treating the bet around as one higher than it actually is, meaning you can bring in units turn 1. There is a stratagem that allows you to deep strike 6 inches away. This is also going to allow you to do it turn 1. At the end of your opponent's turn, you can uppy downy up to, in this case, strike force, up to 2 units, being Azuriani mounted or Viper. This gives you incredible movement, and this really allows you to play the mission. Depending what secondaries you've also got, you may also be looking for kill secondaries. This is a detachment that would really make lone op characters, for example, quake in their boots, depending if you were to take a fixed mission of assassinate. And so let's talk about my list that I am taking. This is the second version of Walking is for Nerds. I made a couple changes to my last list that I took to an RTT, which still did quite well, to be fair. But I had to sort of optimise the list where I felt that like having Storm Guardians was a bit of a waste. So I've gone for more beneficial units. So character-wise, I've brought my trusty and true Autarch with Dragon Fusion Gun and Starglaive. He is going to be leading some Striking Scorpions, because I think everybody should have Striking Scorpions in their list. They provide such a good threat, so you can infiltrate them in the midboard. And they also have Scout as well, so you can be knocking on their door turn 1. In Windrider Host, you're not benefiting from the strats of that detachment. However, an Autarch being able to do like Epic Challenge for free, or Heroic Intervention, or even just a reroll, is perfect. Like, he is a good character, and the 10 Striking Scorpions is a solid unit. In this case with the Striking Scorpions, Chain Sabers on the Exarch, because Twin Linked is invaluable. I've used this unit to good effect, and like I say, I recommend this unit wholeheartedly to any Eldari player. With that said, I have 2 Farseer Skyrunners, both with enhancements. The first one being the Echoes of Ulthanesh. This is your CP regen enhancement, and I think soon TM, the way you generate CP is going to change to rolling a leadership test rather than just rolling a single dice on however much. But Echoes of Ulthanesh is roll a 5 up in your deployment, a 4 up in No Man's Land, and a 3 up in your enemy's deployment zone. However, I think being in your enemy's deployment zone and surviving probably would tell the tale of how the game is going. So there is that. The next Farseer has Searsight Strike. This is your anti-vehicle and anti-monster 2-up on your psychic weapons for that model only. However, Eldritch Storm is quite scary when you do roll high on the amount of shots that you're doing, and being AP2 base and D3 damage is great, and then you have the Singing Spear that's going to benefit from that enhancement as well. It is a wonderfully good way to have this one character really punch up. So we'll go to the battle line now. I found that more Windriders solves issues, so I have 6 Windriders in each squad, of 5 squads in total. This is 160 points each. I believe, if my math is correct, it is 800 points. But I promise you, Windriders are so awesome, and this detachment really, really makes them so much better. All with Shuriken cannons, because AP 1 is still good. Damage 2 is also excellent, and I have 3 Warlocks, 1 of each, going into 3 squads. So I will have 3 Windrider squads that will always be ignoring cover. And I have found that things maybe for like just Overwatch and thing, you know, you're shooting something that's in cover. So this is a really good way to make sure that, you know, AP1 is definitely doing AP1. So that is the battle line. Next I've got Shining Spears. I've got a 6-man and a 3-man. I found that the 6-man is the unit that really wants to hit hard, and this detachment you can advance and charge them for a CP. Damage 3 on their lances is incredible. They're quite a shooty unit, especially with the twin-linked Shuriken catapults for, you know, killing like really tiny units, which may then also potentially allow you to use Overflight, which is another CP strat for moving additional 7. And while recording this, there is no restriction that you can't charge afterward. So having a unit that could potentially go 28 inches, if my math is also correct, before charging is awesome. And with the data sheet ability of the Shining Spears, this is literally just allowing them to ignore all vertical distances. That distance that you're going really is that distance you're going. So this is a unit that really wants to hit something really hard, killing it and not getting hit in return, because as much as I love Shining Spears, they will fall over to a stiff breeze. And then there's the 3-man unit. This is more for just, you know, I'm going to move over here and see if I can get a charge off over here, or, you know, you could do it from strat reserves, you know, Overflight and then charge. With the amount of attacks that a 3-man's doing, I have found that it's not the most efficient way of killing something. So even with the anti-vehicle free and lance, you know, you still got to be quite wary of what you're going to dunk these guys into. So next I've got a 3-man Shroud Runner squad. This is just hold the back objective potentially, or, you know, there's a unit that I need to strip cover from. This is just a good, cheap mission playing unit that is okay defensively. I mean, 5-up save is not the best, but a 5-up invulnerable, and, you know, it's got stealth, so it can do things. I found that 1 is enough. I did have 2 in my previous list, and it was a bit redundant, so 1 I think is a good number at least. I've gone over the Striking Scorpions. Brilliant unit, everybody should have 1. And lastly, the Warwalkers. I have 2 units. Weapon-wise, I haven't quite decided how I like having them. I have found that the missile launchers with the blast profile is very good for killing, you know, big units. You know, got more than 10 models in. AP1, 1 damage, it's okay, but, you know, you really want the Warwalkers to get their datasheet ability off, which is after they've hit something, you can up the AP of all your models' attacks. So this could be, you know, you got something that's really scary, is just walked into the middle of the battlefield on the center objective, and you need a way to take it down. You pair this with your Shrouders, you take away cover, you do this for an additional AP. Suddenly you've got Windriders just off the bat, AP2 ignoring cover, with full hit rerolls against the closest target. Whatever's walked into the middle may end up regretting their choice. So this list is how I like playing. It might not work for everybody, but as of recording, this is 1,000 1,985 points. And hopefully the data slate coming up will be kind to me. But I'm very excited to take this list, and hopefully when I'm actually in Bristol playing, I will be able to let everybody know how badly everything went. So yeah, this is the list. So I'm just going to do some honourable mentions for the units that I think are quite good in this detachment. So with the Shroud Runners first then, this is a unit that can play the game, they can do the missions, you know, it's got the sniper rifle that can strip cover off something that it hits on a 2+. You should be not rolling ones, and if you do, I'm sorry that happened to you. But this unit, I think you should have one in this detachment, at least one. 2 can be good. I found that 2 was a little bit too much. However, it's a good unit. So next is the War Walker. Just to previously go back to what I said about it before with killing big units, I meant that, you know, like 20 units of, you know, silly termagants or hormigants or whatever, you know, blast on both of the missile launchers, and, you know, it's going to go to town. It does give you that option for just, you know, clearing chaff, which is something I feel that, you know, people overlook the Eldari missile launcher, but you just don't know what's going to happen. I like having the missile launcher on the War Walker, purely because if I roll however many shots, I know that hopefully whatever I want to be an extra AP against my shooting will actually in fact work. So War Walker can also play the mission quite well. It's got Scout 9, so it can go up if it needs to, and that extra AP that it provides is just so awesome. And then the next honourable mention is the Farseer Skyrunner. I really think that having 1 to 2 is quite vital in this list. It does provide some of the enhancements that you can have, so I think you should never leave home without the anti-vehicle and anti-monster 2+ enhancement for that character. For the Echoes of Ulthanesh, I think it's kind of a flip up between, do you take that Skyrunner or do you take Eldrad? They're both beneficial. I just think that if you take the Farseer with Echoes of Ulthanesh, you've got a character that you really want to just use and, you know, take all over the place. So instead of like an Eldrad sitting at the back doing nothing, giving you a CP, you've got a Farseer that's giving you potential CP, but then also doing stuff. And also it can allow you to choose a unit within 18 and visible to just make them -1 to wound against your units, specifically just that one target. But with 2 of them, you can have 2 of your enemy units being -1 to wound. So it provides that defensive that is quite needed for this detachment, because again you are just T4 bikes with 2 wounds. You need defensives. So Farseer Skyrunner, big thumbs up, honourable mention. And finally, with unit highlights, I'm going to do my star units. So my star units are things that I will just never leave out the list. These will always be in it. I'm going to start with the Windriders. The Windriders are just amazing. They're probably one of my favourite units. The Shuriken Cannons are incredible. They pair very well with the data sheet ability of re-rolling against the closest enemy target. So if you need those lethal hits, re-roll those misses, see what you get. But it's their output is so good. I kid you not. You're going to be rolling so much dice with them that you actually have to be very careful with your time. But Windriders, absolutely never leave home without them. I promise you, they are worth the points, they're worth the money. Even if they went up in points, I will still take them because they are just incredible. Next is the melee part of the Windrider Host, the Shining Spears. And Shining Spears are also fantastic. They are just, they hit so hard against anything really. You know, they have strength 5 lances, so with lance you are literally looking at winning things on like 2s and 3s, like infantry wise, but if there's like a really tough unit that's higher than T5, you know, you're going to bring that down to a reasonable level. Having anti-vehicle 3 and anti-monster 3 really means that you can look at your opponent's list and go, right, this really needs to kill this big thing. You have the ability to take down vehicles and monsters with this quite easily with a 6-man. 3-man is a lot harder, but a 6-man, while it is pricey, I really recommend you look at Shining Spears. And then finally, the Warlock Skyrunner. You have 3 units of 1, and you put each one of them into a Windrider squad, and it just gives you so much value. You know, ignoring cover on your Windriders, they are just shooting. This really elevates their shooting. And then when you pair the Warlock Skyrunner with the Walker and give them additional AP, you know, you are making your Windriders absolutely punch up against basically anything. Warlock Skyrunner is a big thumbs up from me. I know that the price of them with real money is really high, but if you can get away with buying them, I recommend it. If you want to 3D print them, because these units are just what make the detachment work. And finally, just as a little extra, I've just put together a little recommended list build start for Windrider Host. So with the characters, I really think you should have a Farseer Skyrunner with Echoes of Ulthanesh, or you have Eldrad Ulthran. Both are very good options. And I've seen some lists where people just run Eldrad by himself, so that could be an option. His Doom is very good, +1 to wound. And then with the battle line, I think you should have 3 units of Windriders. Definitely with Shuriken Cannons, because they are really the meat and potatoes of them. And then you should have 2 Wall Walkers. Any weapon loadout is completely fine. I like the missile launchers for the range, the blast profile, and yeah, they are just a good unit, and the additional AP really helps. And finally, you have 3 units of Warlock Skyrunners with 1 each. You pair them with the Windriders, and this then allows you to ignore cover on those Windriders. You have the Wall Walkers there for additional AP. I didn't include the Skyrunner with the Searsight Strike, which is the anti-monster vehicle 2, just purely because I don't know how people would like to, kill vehicles. You could do it with fire dragons, you could do it with fire prisms. There's no wrong answer. But I believe that this is a good basis for the detachment, and then you could add things like Shroud Runners if you wanted to, or if you would prefer Warp Spiders to do your mission play. That's also a very good choice. I'm thinking about playing maybe with Lycas at some point to get lethal hits on 5s against a specific target. The options are endless, and I'll leave it there. Hopefully, you've made it through the video, you've listened to me ramble on, and I'm very appreciative for anybody that has made it here at the end of the video. It's nice that you have, and I'm really hoping that we grow as a channel. We really do enjoy doing live streams, whether that is our local tournament or at somebody's house. we're very passionate about Warhammer, how it brings everybody together, and the most important thing is literally just to have fun. At the end of the day, this is a game. We're here to have fun. This is a way to potentially help people that want to play a detachment that's not the most popular, from what I know. It has very good play. I love it. I really hope that I could help somebody get in on this as well. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you everybody for your time. It does mean a lot to us. If there's feedback that you can give, favourite, like and subscribe would be also very nice. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye for now.